Good morning everyone, welcome back to Not Just Art, and we're going to do Stitch to Collage today. So what I've got here is lots of papers with spray inks, rubbings and just a little bit of sprays generally sploshed across the pages and just playing with shapes. So the first thing you're going to need is some fabric, and I've got some fabric that I can use. I may not use all of it, I may only use probably half of it, so I'm just going to cut that in half. It's important to have fabric behind the paper because the papers will tear as soon as you get them on the sewing machine. Some papers are better than others, but generally, so just going to use half of that. So I generally use more upholstery fabrics, but I thought today I'll just use the cotton that I've got. So I'm backing it with that. So I'm going to choose a design, and I think we're going to put that one over that one. I've got lots of papers here, and generally my colours are actually blues and greens, but in this occasion I'm going to go with this design because it's quite vibrant, and there's a couple of shapes of the actual different colours. So I'm bringing in pink in this, but I'll probably bring in some other. So you certainly can come out of the shape, but just depends on how much you want to do. So when I do these designs, these are just done on cartridge paper, probably about 180 grams, but I do tend to use a lot of lining paper. So if I'm doing something like a rubbing, which is something like this, you can either do it on printer paper or you can do it on the thin lining paper, where you're taking an oil pastel, find a surface to put it on, and then you're rubbing over to get that texture. And the reason I did this was because I was going to flood it with ink. So I've also got some other paper in here, which is some spots, which is an old bag cut up. I may not use that though today. So with that, I am going to just start placing some items. So this is a shape that I just had, and I'm going to put it over the top. So you're creating your composition in a sense, and I quite like that, although I haven't got enough, but we could take that up a little bit, so I might add that in there. Not going to pin, I've got pins here as well, but I'm not pinning yet. I'm just trying out shapes. So it can be very abstract what you do, but what I do tend to do is leave a lot of straight lines with straight lines. So I'm just playing with shapes at the moment. So it's like doing an abstract piece of art, but just in a different way. So I'm just using the shapes. I'm bringing greens in. Not sure if it's going to work with that colour, but I'm going to try. I might use that for something else. Already I'm not sure about the colours, so I'm actually going to probably change this background onto something a bit more white. So starting again, I'm going to take this background. I'm actually going to do a little bit of halving here. So sometimes you start and it doesn't always quite go the way you want it to go. So I'm just going to put that here. I'm going to build up my surface because I like this piece here. I like the colours coming in. So we're going to try that this way. So I tend to fill up the whole space. And this is where you can tear or you can use scissors. So I'm just going to tear, and you're kind of just overlapping the pieces, unless you really want the fabric to show. So it doesn't have to be straight. And again, I'm going to back it with that coming in. So the reason I'm doing stitch to collage is because I actually design a lot of fabrics that are based around loose abstract designs, and then when I repeat them, they come to life and they're magic. Magic, magic. So that is going to be my design. I could stop there. I could add in threads if I really wanted to, and sometimes I do add in some threads, but today that's being fiddly. Okay, so for all those people, yes, I do have a shake which can sometimes be very hindrance, but I don't let that worry me. So I'm just trying to make that work on there. Okay, right, no, we'll take that one out. It's changing my design quite a bit. Okay, because I haven't got a straight edge on that one, I don't like the top bit. Right, so then from here you can start to bring in other colours. So, and the reason I've done that is because there's green there. So you're using your sprayed designs. That I've decided I'm not going to use on this piece already. And I'm looking to bring out a few other areas. So I'm going to just tear that. I'm going to put that there because that picks up again the blue going through and the green. So I have a lot of bits, and sometimes when you're designing and you've got all these things, so people say to me, your house must be full of paper, and it is full of paper. So I'm just going to put that together. So from that, now I'm going to pin in the design, and I'm pinning it to hold it in place when I sew on the sewing machine. So just pinning that, and I could go straight onto the sewing machine with what I have, but sometimes it starts to move and it takes it out from where I want it to be. So I'm just going to pin in a few places, and I'm going to come back in a moment. So this is going to be my design. So I'm now going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to continue there.